welcome to this information session for those of you thinking of applying to MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific 2026. My name is Frederick Nabig. I'm the Managing Director for MedTech Innovator based here in Singapore. With me is our Asia Pacific team. We have Glenn here, we have Jermaine, Linus, and we have our special guest, Joe, as well, and we'll introduce him in just a moment. So we are very fortunate to have Dr. Parapit, CTO at Osteolabs, one of our 4 finalists at MedTech Innovators Asia Pacific Program 2025. And he was just in Singapore a couple of weeks ago. And he will tell us a bit more about his experience going through the program. Prior to that, let me take a few minutes and just walk you through the, first of all, the agenda, but also the MedTech Innovator program. And then I'll hand over to Glenn and Joe to talk a bit more about it, what it entails. So first, we'll do the introduction of the program. We'll then go through timelines and milestones. We'll share a bit about program resources. And of course, there will be an opportunity for Q&A as well. So if you are on the webinar here as a participating guest, feel free to queue up your questions using the function at the bottom of your screen. Next slide, please. So in a nutshell, MedTech Innovator is the world's largest global competition and accelerator for medical devices, digital health, and in vitro diagnostics. We are entirely industry-led, and you will see the logos of some of our partners here at the bottom of the screen. So we work with the likes of Johnson & Johnson, B. Braun, Becton Dickinson, Siemens Healthineers, Teleflex, and many others. In the US, we work with some of them are the same, some are different, but we have a broad number of some of the world's largest medical technology strategics that have partnered with us, or we effectively have become their external innovation arm. This is a slide that was taken 2 years ago at our grand finals here in Singapore, and we'll talk a bit more about the process in just a minute. A few key statistics that might be useful to share, and if we start at the right-hand side of the screen, we are the world's largest accelerator by a number of measures, and one of them being the number of alumni companies that have gone through the program. So globally, we have 838 alumni companies as of this week. 93% of them have been acquired or are still in business, and they've gone on to raise well over $10 billion in follow-on funding. 60 outright acquisitions, including one out of Asia Pacific in December last year, and about 1 in 3 of our applicants generate revenue. So typically, we see slightly later stage companies, but we do accept applicants at all stages of development. 1 in 4 of all investment dollars that went to the medical technology sector in 2024 went to our alumni companies. We're running 2 main MedTech programs, one out of the US, one out of Asia Pacific. This info session, of course, is focused on what we do in the Asia Pacific. If you're based in the US, or if your primary target market is the US, then you may want to apply to our US program. If you are headquartered in Asia Pacific or have strategic interest in Asia Pacific, then you should be focusing on the APAC program. Next slide, please. I won't go through this in great detail. Let me just share that if you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the geographical diversity of our applicants. Most of them, of course, are based in Asia Pacific, but you are welcome to apply if you're based outside of the region, if you have a strategic interest in APAC or you're looking to enter the APAC markets. In terms of development stages, most companies are at preclinical, clinical, or just leading up to commercialization and approval. In terms of funding stages, the majority of our applicants are at seed stage or Series A, but we do have a growing number of companies at Series B and C as well, and you are most welcome to apply. Typically, we require our companies to have a legal entity, and have some initial funding and traction. So if you are a project still based at a university, then you might want to wait until you have set up a legal entity before you apply. As you can see on the left-hand side here, 154 alumni in Asia Pacific alone that have gone on to raise $220 million in follow-on funding. Next slide, please. So this is what the annual program looks like. We're now at the application stage. We have a deadline of December 1st, which is a bit earlier than previous years, and I'll explain why in just a moment. We'll typically then take January and part of February to work with our reviewers around the world, and we have, for APAC, we have about 120 of them. These are senior corporate executives, investors, and other ecosystem domain experts that participate in reviewing the applications, which means that if you apply, you may very well get feedback, even if you don't get selected to pitch. Typically, March through to May is when we will shortlist 60 companies, and we'll invite these 60 companies to pitch. I will talk a bit more about what that looks like a little bit later on, but 2 of those pitch events will be online, so you do not have to travel. 2 of them will be in person. By the time we get to May, June, we will then sit down with our corporate partners and identify the top 20 out of the 60 companies that have pitched. These companies will go into the 4-month accelerator, and which kicks off in San Francisco, or in Mountain View, just south of San Francisco in Silicon Valley. And we will wrap it up in Singapore, typically in October. 4 to 5 finalists will be up on stage, and 1 company will walk away with $175,000 in funding. Next slide, please. Again, you will find this information on our website, but we do take our review of applications quite seriously. These are some of the metrics that our reviewers will look at. They're also some of the metrics that our judges will look at as they evaluate you as an applicant and as a startup seeking to enter into our accelerator program. So we look at multiple parameters across the dimensions of value, execution, and momentum. Next slide, please. So I might hand over to Glenn here, and he'll walk you through in a bit more detail what some of the key dates are for 2026, including what the road tour looks like. Glenn.
Thanks, Frederick. So these are the 5 main phases of the MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific Accelerator Program. So we're currently at the call for entries, where we open our applications. We do info sessions like this, with the application deadline being 1st of December 2025 itself. Once we've received all the applications, and we typically receive about 500 to 600 applications, we will then proceed to select about 60 companies to pitch during the World Tour and Pitch event, where we have 2 online pitch events on the 5th of March and 2nd of April, and 2 physical pitch events. This time round, we'll be doing one in Seoul, South Korea in March, and MedTech Spotlight, the physical pitch event in Singapore itself. I think after the next few slides, we will go into a fireside chat with Joe. And he has actually pitched at MedTech Spotlight Singapore for the past few accelerator programs itself. And you'll get to hear from him how that is about. And then, of course, we'll kick off the Innovator Summit in San Francisco in June. Then we'll all fly back home for the accelerator program that will cover the webinar, the mentorship, and alumni groups before the grand finals and showcase in Singapore on the 25th and 26th of October, which actually just passed for the 2025 program itself. So this is essentially the 2 types of pitch events that we do. So for the online pitch event, if you're unable to fly to either Singapore, or you are not based in South Korea itself, you can actually pitch online with us at one of these 2 online pitch events. We'll have about 20 companies for this online pitch event itself, and roughly about 20 judges that will take a look at your technology itself. For the physical pitch events, it is the three pictures you see at the bottom of the screen. And at every one table, there are only one startup. There's only one startup, and there are approximately minimally about 3 to 5 judges. And these are judges that are going to be looking specifically at your technology, right? They have chosen your startup to judge and review because they have the expertise required to evaluate whatever that you are doing as well. Now, this allows you to then be able to interact closely with these key stakeholders in the ecosystem that spread across investors, academia, and our corporate partners as well. This is the summit at Mountain View, California, and as you can tell, this is where all our cohorts across the MedTech Innovator US program, Asia Pacific program, as well as BioTools program will assemble in Mountain View, California for a 2 to 3 day program where we will get all some of our alumni and our partners to conduct really intense roundtables and workshops spanning across the 2 days itself. Now, the idea here is really to expose you guys to the US ecosystem, which I think still remains as one of the largest medtech ecosystems in the world today. So even if you don't have a short and immediate, I think, term plan in the US, if you are based in Asia Pacific, I think we also want to give you guys a head start to make new connections and find like-minded founders from around the world at Summit itself. Now, when we all go home, we will essentially be organizing the online accelerator program, whereby we would then survey all the cohort companies to determine the 10 educational webinars that we would need to find speakers for you. So this is a good example of the 2025 topics. And typically, I think they would adjust year on year to really suit each individual cohort itself. Now, mentorship. I think mentorship is something that's really that we do something that we do very differently. So we do get our corporate partners like Johnson & Johnson, BD, B. Braun, Siemens Healthineers, and Teleflex, alongside some of our service provider partners, so Cambridge Consultants, Mullings Groups, even LAK, to come in to mentor the cohort companies itself. Now, each mentor would only mentor roughly about 2 to 3 companies, and that's really so that they can give an appropriate amount of time from their busy schedules to talk to each and every one of you as well. So we had about 39 mentors to about 20 startups. So each startup gets roughly between 1 to 2 mentors for this 4-month period itself. Now, this mentorship will be goal-oriented, so you will let us know what are some of the objectives that you want to cover with your mentors, and then we will go ahead to find suitable mentors for you. Right. So some of these relationships actually do withstand the test of time. Many of these connections extend well beyond the program, really evolving into either a long-term partnership or collaboration. And some of our judges even eventually get invited to sit on the board of some of these startups as well. So they are very experienced, and our startups thankfully make the best of this mentorship journey with the mentors. Now, of course, besides the educational curriculum and the mentorship, we do provide additional resources, partnering with investors, pitch book access, access to the wider community in terms of leadership pods, and alumni support initiatives as well. An important thing to note here is that we don't have application fees, and we are agnostic to geography as well as stage of development. So this is just a good example of the end of a year showcase, where if you take a look directly in the middle of the screen, you will see that we do give out certain funding opportunities and during the program itself. And I think today we will also have Joe, which is one of the runner-ups for the grand finals this year as well. And I think he walked away with 10,000 US dollars itself. Right, so this year's winner is actually Australia Scientific, and that is Nikki, the CEO and co-founder on the left of your screen, and on the right of the screen is actually our previous winner, which flew in from Taiwan to hand this check and over to Australia Scientific itself. And of course, in the middle is our CEO, Paul Grant. Yeah, so I think as part of the accelerator program at the end of the year in Singapore in October, we do organize the grand finals and showcase where we showcase all the companies as well as to organize masterclasses and roundtables to make your trip to Singapore worthwhile as well. Now, the day after our grand finals and showcase, we actually would have the Singapore Week of Innovation and Technology organized by Enterprise Singapore, which we will have tickets for our cohort companies too. All right, so in summary, I think this is the key dates and milestones that you should be looking at, and selected companies either for the road tour, for either online or physical, need to be there to pitch. And of course, you need to be there once you've been selected as part of the top 20 companies in San Francisco for the Innovator Summit and in Singapore for the grand finals and the showcase as well. Right, so applications are now open across all our programs, and the deadline for application is actually 1st of December 2025 itself. And to apply, just scan this QR code on our screen. We will also copy this URL into the chat so that it's a bit easier for you guys to click and apply itself. If you have any questions, I think feel free to reach out to us at APAC support at medtechinnovator.org itself. Yeah. So applying to our program itself, when you go into the application portal, if you have applied before, and you have new details to add, good news is that you no longer have to do the entire application form again. You can actually join an existing application that you have created last year, as long as you tag the application to the same company as your previous application itself. If you have never applied to MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific before, then you will just need to create a new company and begin your application itself. And of course, step 3 is essentially once you have selected your company, just select the MedTech Innovator APAC Accelerator program to begin that process of submitting your application itself. All right. So I think once again, if you have any questions, just reach out to us and we'll be glad to answer your questions. If not, then I think it's my pleasure to invite our alum from 2025, who is also our finalist, Joe, CTO from Osteo Labs, to join me on the screen right now.
Thank you, Glenn, for having me. Yes, very happy to be back. I was active part of the other side of the webinar, right? Last year, I just joining this exact same session. So yeah, very good to be back.
That's right, that's right. You were a participant last year during this info session as well. So maybe Joe, can I just invite you to share a little bit more about maybe what Osteo Labs does, just for the audience as well?
Yeah, for sure. Just for the context. So what we do AI surgical planning and 3D printing of medical devices. So thinking about like bone replacement, like jaw surgery, orthopedic surgeries. Yeah, I think that's like us in the nutshell. Yeah.
And you guys are currently based in Thailand and looking to expand already in the US, right?
Yes, I mean the our company was originated from Bangkok, Thailand, and I think throughout the journey and then getting more exposure to ecosystem. Now we do flip the company to the US. So right now we have headquarters in the US, and then it hold the share for the Thai company. We also set up the Osteo Lab, say R&D facility or the like Osteo Lab technology in Singapore to work more
Okay.
closely with Singapore ecosystem. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Welcome. So I actually just have a few questions for you, which will then, I think, get to show our audience a little bit more towards, I think, your journey thus far for the MedTech Innovator program, if that's okay with you. And
Definitely.
maybe we can start just right at the beginning, right? So I know you guys applied, I think it was 3 years in a
Yes,
row,
we do apply 2 years in a row,
2 years in a row.
but yeah, the first year we got invited to the pitch event, so I flew into Singapore, and then
Mm-hmm,
we round table with just the picture that you just showed during
mm-hmm,
the session, and then we did not get into the final cohort. But with that, I think it's still kind of very eye-opening.
mm-hmm,
And then during those I believe it's a 2 days event, and
mm-hmm,
we get to talk with like corporate partner as you mentioned,
mm-hmm,
and I think get the feedback from the people who are really in the industries,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
since they come from the corporate, so it's very interesting to see their perspectives on what we do. And then I mean, it's not often that you get to meet the corporate partners who understand fully on
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
what you do and able to give you those comments. So we kind of like took those comments on the first year, even though we don't get in, and we kind of come back and like do some self-reflection. And then
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
every
mm-hmm.
year, so we reapply again, and then we got in this time. Yeah.
Okay, no, congratulations. And what would you say to maybe companies that have came to pitch before, right? Because I know you mentioned that it's really good that you managed to get direct feedback, and I think the trip to Singapore from Thailand was worth it for that feedback, right? And I think when we get certain inquiries, some startups are a bit disheartened that they didn't get in the first time, and they are not sure if they come back again, will the result be any different? Do you have any advice for companies like this?
Well, I mean, you never knew if we don't try, right? So for sure, we also feel hesitant, but we feel like over 1 year as the startup, you kind of able to do quite a lot. So,
Mm,
and then you kind of sometimes you have the minor pivot along the way, right? And then
mm,
yeah, we just want to give it a try again, and then yeah, luckily that we got in this time. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's exactly this kind of mindset, and these kind of startups and founders that I think the program is really looking for as well. Um, No, so thank you so much for that, and congratulations on being selected this year itself. And of course, when you're selected, then you joined us at the Innovator Summit this year in June at Mountain View, California itself. Can I just ask you, maybe one is, I think the distance from Thailand to Mountain View is really long, right? Why did you decide to make that trip, and was it worth it?
Yeah, I think that maybe depends on the where you are, right? I mean,
Mhm,
even though we started from Thailand, but we knew from the day one that Thai market would not be large enough for us,
mhm.
which
Mm,
means we need to find some way to like expand ourselves to different market, different
mm,
opportunities.
mm,
And I think going for sure we can go to the US ourselves, like
mm,
using our personal connection. But I mean, going through the MTI program, it kind of give you those credibility and like those awareness, and it kind of get us more exposure to the
mm,
US
mm,
ecosystem. And within such the short time, we can really feel that we can kind of gain some momentum or some of those connections that we
mm.
can follow up later. And it's something that we currently pursuing, yeah, at the moment.
Okay, okay. No, that's good. And I think was it your co-founder that joined us in the summit this year?
Yes, so the way we operated, so we have two co-founders and myself based in
Mm-hmm.
Southeast Asia. So I took care of the team here, and I have another co-founder based in the US, but it's just him alone. So it's very, and then given the size of the US as a country is so large, right? I think having the ATI as a bandwidth for him to join that,
Mm-hmm.
so really helping a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Did you manage to talk to him and understand maybe what did he feel was the biggest benefit of joining the Innovator Summit in the US?
After it's so surprising that after we the get accepted to the program,
Mm-hmm.
right? We got a lot of like people sending email to us for sure, like first congratulations, and then they kind of start introducing themselves,
Oh, that's nice.
like their expertise and then how they can work with us, and kind of it gives us the more exposure to the ecosystem. I think that's one thing that happened right away after we got in. And then now I think we do have few US hospital partners who start like in discussion of collaborating with us, exploring our technology. So I think that's probably the big plus or the most benefit that we feel from the summit itself. Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's good. But of course, I don't think MedTech Innovator was really the sole reason why you're getting all this traction as well. I know you guys work extremely hard, uh, not only in Southeast Asia, but in the US in acquiring some of these partners. Um, but I'm really glad that I think that the getting into the program has opened some of these doors for you, especially from some of our partners in the US itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. I'm glad that the summit was very valuable and useful for you guys. And I think you got to meet, or your co-founder got to meet a lot of founders, not only from the US, but around the world as well. And I hope he managed to build some good connections with other founders at the same time.
Definitely. Like for example, we do medical devices, right? So which
Mhm.
means we need to like make physical things, and then to expand to US market. I think an option of establishing our facilities is not the first option. So
Correct.
we get to meet a lot of people who kind of work in the similar area with us, and now they were part of the discussion of like how we can work with them when we do US expansion in the future. So meeting like other co-founders ecosystem, I think it does help a lot with your expansion plan. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. Thank you so much. And then of course we all flew home from the summit in June. And we then organized, I think, two main focus areas during the online accelerator program, right? And that's the online webinars, which I know you've joined us for quite a number of them, as well as the mentorship itself. So maybe let's talk a little bit more about the online webinars, if you don't mind. How was the online webinars, right? Because I think if the audience asks me, I will definitely say it's good, but I thought they should hear directly from you.
Right. Probably first of all, I think we need to admit that I think the MTI has a very, how would I say, tight, not tight, but there were a lot that been covered through the program. So you really need to kind of prep your time to join all the sessions. And I think and I think the benefit depend largely on which stages you are. Like, and for us, for example, that we start having some revenue, but mostly coming from Thai market itself. And then I think what we found most useful is like when we talk about regulation, like for different countries, how to manage your distributorship partners. I think that's also very eye-opening to us. And actually, what happened to the webinar is typically webinar is it's like 1 hour, right? So there is so much you can cover. But typically, what we do is after the webinar, if we see some of the speaker who really hit on the point that we feel like we are lacking, we email him afterward,
Okay.
ask for like another like Zoom call, and then kind of like dig more deeply into our own problems, own challenges. And surprisingly, that typically if you do that, or the people that were invited to the speak at webinar, they kind of really willing to talk to you even after the session is completed.
Oh no, that's good. Thanks to you, I think our speakers will be getting a lot of emails after the next webinar session itself.
Yes.
But I think I like what you brought up, right? Two things that you brought up. One, I think it's that startups after joining the program is not a miracle in itself, right? You need to put in a lot of effort to take advantage of the opportunities that are present during the entire accelerator program in order to reap, I think, the maximum amount of benefit from the program itself as well.
Yeah, I think you need to be quite proactive, right? I think it starts from you kind of knowing yourself, what you are, what you need. And then I am sure that during the program, you will see that some of the thing that program present to you will maybe answer your need, maybe not 100% of them because people have different need all the time, right? But I think once you kind of know yourself what you lacking, and then once you see the offer comes your way, but it won't be passive. You need to be quite proactive in engaging with people in the program, mentor himself, or even other partners. But I think there will be many opportunities come during the program, but it won't automatic. You need to be quite proactive. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. And that I think brings us very nicely to the next part, right, which is the mentorship segment. And I think you guys had really, really good mentors, right? Do you want to share maybe your experience with some of these mentors?
Right. Can I mention the name, Glenn? Is
Oh,
it?
yeah. I think it should be
Good.
okay.
Yeah. So we got two mentors in the program. So first one is Chris Stewart from J&J, and then he is like if I'm not wrong, like APAC, like marketing director for like orthopedic which is like one-to-one matching to what we do. And then we got Ajay from Mauling Group, which is like expert in like HR, commercialization, and anything that not. I think he was a commercial guy for like 15, 20 years, and he's running his own thing, right? And then we spend lots of time with the mentors. Probably during the program, I talked to Chris maybe at least like 4 to 5 times Zoom call. And then every Zoom call, we really go through what we do in terms of our R&D development, and he kind of link us with his colleagues in the US, someone that really working with understanding our technologies. And I even met him, not a part of program. I kind of flew into Singapore and asked him for lunch, and then he very kind to join. And then we have like 2 hours talking about what he's
That's good.
thinking of the market, and what as a startup what we can do and so on. It's very a very insightful experience. And for Ajay, he is really talking not only myself. So I feel like I told him that what I listened to him, I want to tell my team on what he said, but I could not do a good job of translating, or like so I set up another meeting to have him to meet with the team, and then let them to talk directly on like marketing strategies, on how you find your value proposition of your product, and then how those value can change when you go to different markets. So it's like, I think it's very rewarding experience working with two mentors in the program. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I think a shout out to Chris from J&J and AJ from the Mullings Group as well. And I think these mentors were selected specifically from the challenges that you mentioned that you want mentorship in these particular areas as well. And that's how we really found suitable mentors that can hopefully directly address some of the pain points that you have, which I'm glad I think the program managed to achieve. And of course, you spend, I think on average, maybe about 1 to 2 meetings a month from July to roughly about October to really get to know these mentors. Are you still in contact with your mentors?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's the kind of relationships that MedTech Innovator we hope to build as well. And that's really lasting relationships, and that opportunity to get mentorship from our corporate partners at the same time, which is something that I think a lot of startups face challenges in. It's not easy to speak to someone, I think one-to-one even, or even a most relevant person within such large organizations at the same time.
Definitely.
Were you very shocked when you knew who your mentors were?
Definitely. I mean, as a startup, you always want to get in touch with the big corporate, right? Just to hear their opinions on how they see you from like different side, right? That's very beneficial. Yeah, I'm so happy that I mean happy, and then I was surprised that we get to work this close to the corporate partners. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a big thanks to J&J and the Mullings Group as well. And Joe, I think just to set the record straight, we are not paying you to say all of this, right? This is your own personal experience.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's just the way of, I mean, I mean, as the startup, you kind of get help along the way, right? And just, yeah, I didn't get paid anything, just happy to contribute back to, what I have gained over time. Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you so much. And I think the last part of the program is I think when the mentorship was concluded, so we would have roughly about 500 to 600 applications. So 60 companies will pitch. 20 companies will be selected as part of the cohort that will go through everything that I think Joe has mentioned. And then actually 4 companies will then advance to the grand finals in Singapore itself. And Osho Labs was actually one of those 4 companies. And we decide the grand winner, I think really interestingly. So it's actually by audience vote. So the 200 to 300 professionals and industry players from Asia Pacific will actually join us in Singapore during our grand finals and showcase period. And they will have the opportunity to listen to all 20 companies on showcase panels itself, as well as to hear the pitches directly from the top 4 companies. And the grand winner, which will then walk away with the $175,000 funding opportunity, would essentially be decided by the audience. So Joe, I wanted to understand, of course, one, congratulations on being selected. And how was your experience when you were pitching in Singapore?
I mean, I must admit that as Glenn mentioned, like the programs is quite competitive in itself. And then when you meet your cohort partners, you always amazed by what they are building.
Mm,
We did not expect to make the top 4. Not that we not confident in ourselves, but we see all the good technology that been building, and yeah, so it's beyond our expectation. But we do take it not for granted, but we are very happy that we get to like coming from not making it the first year and then end up at the top 4 finalists this year.
mm. No, that's good. That's good. And of course, when you came to Singapore, it was not only for this showcase panels and grand finals, right? We did organize, I think, the master classes and roundtables as well. So
Right.
really wanted to maximize your time there. So did you feel that you spent or the time in Singapore was well spent?
Oh, definitely. Every time I came to Singapore for any MTI related event, it's gonna be like a two like very packed days of like all this information comes your way. So, but it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We work you guys very hard. And so thank you for being very involved in the program as well. I think everything we do ultimately is to benefit the cohort startup companies. And we only want one thing, which is to watch you guys grow. And I personally really delighted to see I think the growth of Ostro Labs and the whole team as well. And then of course, you guys won the runner-up prize. So congratulations for that. And then we concluded the evening with networking itself. Um, so I think that's in essence the entirety of the program and its main points. And you've heard, I think, directly from Joe about how his experience was from not being selected into the program, but selected to pitch last year, to this year being selected to pitch, accepted into the program. And I think the various important touch points where they found a tremendous value and takeaway from as well. I think before we conclude this segment itself, I wanted to maybe ask Joe, do you have any advice for companies that are looking to apply to the MedTech Innovator program?
Yeah, I did say it during the grand final interview, but I feel like if you are building the medtech technology, and I think joining MTI is really accelerating your like exposure to ecosystem, and for us it does help a lot with all the traction that come our way. So I do encourage everyone to apply, and I think do spend a serious amount of time on your application. Yeah, we did that, and yeah, it's very, how would I say it? It's, you need to spend time on that. So yeah, please spend some time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. And I think we don't have any questions from the audience. Frederick, do you want to say something?
Well, first of all, Just that. First of all, I wanted to say a big thank you to Joe for joining us. Great conversation. Glad to hear that you had a meaningful session with MedTech Innovator. We do typically get the same types of questions when we have these info sessions, and I just wanted to address maybe one or two of them that are likely to come up. So one question that we commonly get is, should I apply to the US program or to the Asia Pacific program? Because some of you may have received an invitation email which says that you can apply to either of the two programs, and that is entirely correct. You have the choice as an applicant to choose to apply either to the APAC or the US program. Now, if you're headquartered in Asia Pacific, like Joe and Osiolabs, we would strongly recommend that you apply to the Asia Pacific program for a number of reasons. One, of course, is that everything that we do, including the webinar series, the educational work that we do, is done on East Asian time zone. So you don't have to get up 3 o'clock in the morning to hop on Zoom. Your mentors are likely to be based in this part of the world, so it gets a lot easier to schedule meetings. But also equally important, or maybe even more importantly, the MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific program has fewer applicants. So although we have 500 to 600 applicants typically, if you are applying to our US program, there are likely to be 1,500 to 2,000 startups applying. So if you are based in APAC, whether Australia or Japan or China or India or Southeast Asia, we strongly encourage you to apply to the MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific program. Another question we commonly get is about stage of development. We spoke about that a bit earlier. We do accept companies that are at seed stage. You cannot be a university project. You need to have to be eligible. You need to have a company set up. But earlier stage companies are welcome. Most of the companies that we see, as I mentioned earlier, are at seed stage or Series A. Although later stage companies, again, are very welcome to apply. Final common question, I'm just going through the three of them here very quickly, is about confidentiality and the need to sign NDAs or non-disclosure agreements or confidentiality agreements. And to submit your application, as Joe mentioned earlier, take your time to do that. We ask a lot of questions. It takes a while. Don't wait until the last minute. You can log in and do part of it one day and continue another day. That's absolutely fine. We do not require, and we will not sign an NDA for someone filling out the application. As when you interact and pitch to VCs and institutional investors, typically they will never sign an NDA with you. And we do not typically sign NDAs with our applicants. Now, if you enter into a mentorship discussion with your mentor and you enter into a very technical conversation, at that time it's optional, but you may choose you can discuss it with your mentor. You may choose to sign an NDA with your mentor. So that's certainly possible, but we don't recommend, we will not sign an NDA at the beginning of the program. So those were the three common questions that I wanted to cover very quickly. Thanks again, Joe. I'll hand back to Glenn to close, and maybe we want to share the QR code as well for the applicants online.
Yep. So this is just a last call. Scan this QR code, and if you have any questions, let us know. I'll just leave this on for a while. And at the same time, of course, a big thank you to Joe from Osiolabs for joining us today. And I think we can conclude here. Thank you so much to our online audience as well. And we look forward to see your application to the MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific program. Thank you.